Welcome back, everyone. We've created a basic box. We are going to now use some additional sketching and some additional commands to edit and change what this box looks like. So let's get at it. I have this box. If you have created one that's slightly different size, that is not too important. What's important is that you have created this box and you're ready to have some more commands. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to demonstrate that I can sketch on more, and I use the term sketch, meaning I can draw these 2D lines and shapes on more than just these front, top, and right planes. So if I click on any flat surface of a part, I can right click and say I want to create a new sketch, and everything that I draw then will be drawn on a plane that is defined by this particular surface. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to click New Sketch. Notice I get the dialog box over here that says I'm sketching. I'm being told that I'm sketching on the face of my first extrusion. And my menu bar up top has come back, and I'm allowed to draw lines and rectangles and circles and arcs and polygons. So I think what I'm going to do actually is I am going to draw a polygon. So I'm going to draw an inscribed polygon so that the polygon is inscribed inside or is on an inscribed circle. So the circle's on the inside. So I think what I'm going to do is just randomly draw this polygon over towards the edge of the part and click it into place. And let's see if I just enter, say, right now it looks like it's a size of 6. And what happens if I just enter 4? I don't get to change it. But I can't. Oh, that's number of sides. Well, that's cool. So I want definitely want a 6-sided polygon. And so I'll click it into place. And for now, for now, that's all I want to do on this sketch. And I'm going to finish this sketch now with a green check mark. And I want to do something with this sketch. I'm going to come over to my feature tree or feature manager and select Sketch 2, and I'm going to use extrude again. So I'm going to use this extrude command, and notice Revit gives me a preview. Onshape gives me a preview. Revit's one of the pieces of software that we teach here at College of Western Idaho. So Onshape gives me a preview, and it's saying that it's going to go start at the face of my sketch. It's going to go up 1 inch. It's called a depth, but it's always a depth whether it goes up or down. And I can even put some draft on it and some other options that we won't talk about. So I'm going to accept this, and basically it's like I've got a polygon sitting on top of a box. I also want to highlight that in my feature manager, you'll notice that I have this sketch and extrude 1. Extrude 1 is made from sketch 1. Extrude 2 is made from sketch 2. We saw in the previous video that I can edit a sketch. Well, if I right click on the extrude 2, I can edit the actual extrusion feature. My dialog box comes back up, and I can make some changes. So in this particular case, I am going to click on this arrow here so that my extrusion, instead of going up out of the box, it goes down into it. And instead of adding material, I'm going to remove material. Then I click on my green check to accept this editing And notice now, instead of adding material up in space, I am taking material away, and so I end up with a polygon hole in this box. Okay, so we have created a box with the extrude command. We've then created what's called a void down inside the box using the extrude command. So let's do something else. Let's change what the edges of this box looks like. So as I progress along my menu bar, I get really high strength or high complexity geometry creation tools here. And then I can modify some of my geometry in the next few commands. So I'm going to use this command called fillet. And it's going to put a radius at some of these sharp corners. So I'm going to click the fillet command, and the default option is 0.2 inches. I'll go ahead and leave that for now. And I want to my option here, I want a radius, and my option here, I want it to be circular, right? I have some different options. And so I'm going to click on this edge over here. And notice I get the edge removed, and I get a nice rounded radius. I'm going to come down to the bottom, and I'm going to click on this face. And we're going to notice that every edge that creates that face now has the radius going around. I'll accept that command to get a better look at it, and we can see that everything on the bottom has that fillet radius. Okay, so let's do another little more complex feature. And so what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to create a sketch on this plane, which is the top plane. And you know it's the top plane in the video because one, this is selected, and two, it turned blue up here in my feature manager. And so that tells me that I've selected the top plane. So the first thing I'm going to do is right click on the top plane and say I want a new sketch. And so everything I draw is going to end up on the top plane. So I'm going to go ahead though and kind of leave this looking at this like an isometric view. And I'm going to draw a circle. And so I'm just going to draw a circle down here outside the part. Let's see. I think actually I'm going to draw it a little bit towards the other end of the part, away from this polygon. And that's the only feature I want in this sketch. So I'm going to accept that, click the green check mark, and I can see I've created sketch 3. Actually, now that I think about it, we may need this to be in a specific spot. I gotta think about that. Yeah, we are going to want this in a very specific spot. So what I am going to do, and you'll need to follow along here as well, I'm going to right click on sketch 3 and say I want to edit it. And we're back drawing this. So the first thing I'm going to do is select my circle that I drew and press the delete key on my keyboard. And I need to draw a line first. So I'm going to draw this line. I'm going to click on my origin, and I'm going to draw my line and make sure that if you watch on my screen, you can see as I move my mouse from an angled line toward kind of a straight line, it snaps. It wants to jump to a position that is parallel and coincident with this right plane. Using words, but just watch on the screen and make sure you get that little jumpiness, and then click the end of your line. And now I'm going to draw a circle. And I'm going to make sure that the center of my circle is at the end point of my line. So try that out. Make sure that works for you. Once it does, then you want to come back and select the line that you drew and delete it. Then I'm ready to exit my sketch. So I exit the sketch, and I want to create another sketch. And in this case, I'm going to sketch on the right plane. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, and I will, in my feature tree, click on the right plane, right click, and say I want a new sketch. And the first thing I'm going to do here actually is draw another line. And now I'm going to hover over the center of that circle that I drew. And notice it kind of pops up with that orange snap, what's called snap preview. So once it's over I get my orange preview, I'm just going to draw my line. And again, I'm going to make sure that it's straight up, right? This is kind of important. And I see that it's straight up. Again, Onshape kind of wants to snap to that, but I also see a small white box with a vertical line in it. And that tells me that that line is vertical. So I'm going to press escape, finish that command. And now I'm actually going to rotate and use the right face of my view cube. So I'm looking right straight onto kind of this page of the right plane that I'm drawing on. And I'm going to choose to draw an arc called this tangent arc. So I want to choose this option. So choose it, come down to in your command, come down to the end of the line that we drew. Click at that point and begin to move your cursor up. And move it up and to the right. And let's see. Yeah, just move it up and to the right somewhere. It would be nice if the end of your arc is horizontal. So in this case, my arc is coming back so that it's facing down a little bit. And if I leave it here, it's still facing up. I'd like to have that arc be kind of horizontal at the end. I'll click the end of my arc, and I'm going to use this command again. So I make sure that my command is active, and I click now on the end of this arc. And in this case, I'm going to zoom out a little bit and end up kind of near my part and maybe not quite vertical, and click that into place. The dimensions aren't important and the shape isn't super critical, but it's nice to have a quarter circle and something less than a quarter circle over here. If you have something that looks familiar or similar to this, we're ready and we're going to finish this sketch, and I'm going to click OK. I now have this circle that's directly sort of attached to this path. And we're going to create another feature now. So I'm going to use this, what's called sweep feature. It's the third command from the left, and I'll click on that. And I'm asked two questions. What face do I want to sweep? So I'm going to click into this box, and I'm going to say I want sketch number 3 to be my face. And then notice the entry goes into this upper box, and then I'm going to click into something called sweep path, and it turns blue. And now I'm going to click on the sketch that I created, kind of this S curve. Mine's called sketch 4. I get all my answers. And we even now already see a preview of what's going to happen. It's kind of a cool shape. But what I'm going to do is, instead of adding material, I'm going to remove material. And now I can see that I'm creating kind of this whole path through my part. And I'm going to accept that as a finished command. So here now, if I rotate my part, I can just kind of see through all the way through the part and know that it's taking that curved path through my part. So we have used a couple different commands, and we have created some kind of unique looking part here. Don't know if it has any function, but then I'm going to close this session, and as we open the next session, we're going to create a part that does have some function to it. So I hope this is helpful and that you're enjoying the ride.